away we go. She finds the skipper, Nadine Bryan. Henry. Back to Bryan. Aiken's got the hand up. She wants it. Behind the goal circle. Griffith, first attempt of the match. Over Furman. Furman! Oh, good start from the Furminator.
Great tip from Furman. Not only did she use the height well, but her timing was impeccable. That's a difficult thing to do, and do it the first shot of the match. Really well done.
Well, let's see if Anna-Kay Griffith keeps going to the post after that one. Here's Australia on attack for the first time.
Paula Thompson using her height then. She's 178 centimetres tall. A little bit taller, 3 centimetres taller than Nat Bomberto, and that could get telling later in the night if it's close, just Thompson being able to get those deflections around the circle.
Bully gets her first tip, picked up by Prattley.
Yeah, really well read from Rebecca Bully. As soon as the ball's in the air, she attacked it. Great start from her.
Brown finding nice space in the pocket. 1-2 with Prattley. Goes to the post. And slots her second. Good start from Susan Prattley. Big shoes to fill. Nat Medhurst was 30 from 33 in the first test. And fair to say, that goal shooting position there, all 5 of them who went up for grabs, very, very hotly contested.
It will be hotly contested, and it really does depend on what Norma Plummer and the Australian selectors want in terms of the mix. So they want 2 talls, 2 shorts, 3 shorts, 1 tall. I know Norma Plummer loves that moving sort of attacking circle with 2 shorter players playing goal attack and goal shooter. It's a great option for Australia to have.
Jamaica trailing by 2. Bryan, overhead feed into Aiken.
Just looks a little bit like Nadine Bryan isn't quite sure where to put the ball to Imelda Aiken. A couple of times she's turned, looked, taken a second look before she releases. I guess part of that is the fact that she's got someone like Susan Furman to throw the ball over.
Great pace from Maddie Brown off the centre pass, breaking through effortlessly. Beautiful feed over the top. Not sure if that was planned, but Prattley will take it. 3 straight for her. Here's Anna-Kay Griffiths. A big rap from her coach, Connie Francis. Of course, Francis was a legendary goal attacker of the game. Long ball to Aiken on the lead. A long way from home. Gets herself back in. Deflection from Furman, working hard. They find Aiken on the baseline, and she makes good.
There's a good release from Thompson. Furman did well to come around the front of the body, but the second effort from Aiken was good. Really used her body for the hold.
Here's Maddie Brown. Marsha Kelly pushing the issue with Susan Prattley. Well, we're lucky to have the access to the coaches throughout tonight's game. We've got Norma Plummer here first. Norma, Susan Prattley just slots 4 from 4. A few changes in your lineup from what we saw in the first test.
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea at the moment, Dan, because we want to put everybody out there. So, we don't want to be testing it at Commonwealth Games.
Fair enough, Plum. What's your game plan tonight? Without giving too much away, of course, what are you really aiming to do with this game?
I really wanted Furman looking after it herself. She's actually done a good job so far, but we're not picking up the crumbs out the front as she's delivering, so we've got to smarten up on that. But I'd prefer, though, her back on Romelda and Beck Bully going out on the shot.
So have you really asked Rebecca and I guess your mid-court as well, just to play a really tight one-on-one style of defence? Yeah,
I said I felt that they'd put Griffith on because they'd want the movement out the front, and they're going to probably leave the circle open for Romelda to just have plenty of room to try and put the ball up. So we needed to be aware that we can't underestimate them at any time.
Norma, just finally, I want to quickly ask you, we hear that Laura Geitz was the one that gave Sherelle the corky. Have you had a word to Geitz in? How far away is Sherelle from getting back out there?
Well, I didn't have a word to Geitz. I think Sherelle ran into her herself. So I mean, that's practice when you're all out there and you want to make the team. I guess you've got to put it all out. So there's no love lost.
Beautiful. Thanks very much for your time. Norma, let you get back to it.
Bye.
Catherine Cox, Liz, just putting back on a shoe.
Oh, she's thrown a shoe. A few farriers out there might be called in to do a little bit of work. That's just interesting. Plum was prepared to say, well, it might have been Sherelle. Dan, now you play goal attack. You're always going to stick up for Sherelle, but I'd like to hear that potentially it was the goal attack that ran into the goalkeeper.
Yeah, you would stick up for the defenders, Liz. That's how you work, for sure. No doubt about that. Game back on. Cox to the post. Slots Australia's 8th.
Seeing a little replay here of Renee Hallen, and that's exactly what her coach would have asked her to do, just attack that first ball, keep making life difficult for the wing attack.
Again, Aiken far out of the circle. That's twice in the last two plays we've seen her come out deep in attack, helping out her front line. It was interesting listening to Connie Francis during the week. She said that she thought Romelda in the first test played an Australian style of goal shooter. She wasn't playing the Jamaican way.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? Francis basically said that they needed to do a little bit of work with Romelda to turn her back into a Jamaican to get that style of play. I actually think Romelda's playing really well, and I'd like to see her putting a little bit of movement on and using her body a little bit, but clearly that's not what Connie Francis wants. So interesting to see what Aiken comes up with today.
So a chance here for the Jamaicans. Important they stay at touch at quarter time. Rebecca Bully puts a stop to that. I was about to say the Australians fly down court, but a mishandle from Von Berto, and the high ball to Aiken to get it back within two.
Well, sometimes there's a bit of a fine line between a quick transition and just remaining in control. Rebecca Bully took that just a little bit off balance for Brown, sometimes also for Von Berto. Sometimes you just need to make sure that you stop, take the ball, slow the pace, change the direction.
Good work from Rebecca Bully. She shuts down the drive of Griffith, trying to sweep that circle.
Ireland offside.
Dean Bryan with the feed. Experienced campaigner at wing attack.
McPherman penalised then just for putting her arms around Aiken. So it just looks like Aiken's getting a little bit more protection today from the umpires. Interesting to see how that pans out across the course of the match.
Good work defensively there from the Jamaicans. They shut down Maddie Brown on the first and second phase. Eventually it finds Cox, and she gets Australia's 9th on the board. A 2-goal lead for the Diamonds here. Early days in the match, but good signs so far for the Jamaicans.
I like what they're doing defensively. They look like they're just stopping the flow of the Australians, having a good go at things. Melisha Kelly and Georgia Gordon, I think, have been good so far at goal defence and goalkeeper.
Deflection there by Furman, and a replay called against Aiken. So a turnover for the Diamonds. Hallinan drives it down with Bully. Pratley in support.
It's good backup play then from Pratley. She saw that Bully was at full strength. That's what you've got to do, make sure you're coming forward for the next ball.
Good connections from the Australians down in attack, and Pratley puts another on the board.
Dangerous little period here for the Jamaicans. They did well to run with the Diamonds for first half of the first quarter. Diamonds, though, just put in a little 3-goal burst, make that 4.
It's worth keeping an eye on the score, Liz. In the first test, it was 12-9 to the Diamonds, so the Jamaicans were very much in touch at quarter time. They'll need to be there or thereabouts again tonight. Thompson, not happy with the attention from Von Berto. Here's Kelly. Griffiths. Aiken again, pushed really high from Furman. Doing a good job keeping her out of the circle there, Liz.
Yeah, she is. I'd like to see Romelda Aiken really own that middle part of the circle. Just a couple of times there, Bryan and Griffiths have just run into each other. And you really can't afford to do that when you've got a shooter who's not a moving shooter and not really an option. So Jamaicans probably just need to do a little bit of balance on the court just to make sure you're not running on top of each other and there's always an option to the ball.
So an injury time just called out for Romelda Aiken, getting a bit of attention to her calf, I believe it is.
Well, there's a whole mess of calf there, so just wondering if a little bit tactical. She didn't look to be in too much trouble, and it's a good time for the Sunshine Girls to have a timeout. I've seen Dean Bryan there really having plenty to say. It's what your captain needs to do in this situation.
It's probably worth a mention of young Madison Brown we see on screen now. Obviously in her 6th test cap, but Lauren Nurse, who played wing attack in the first test, did quite a good job. She come away with 20 goal assists, 17 centre pass receives, the highest of anyone on court, and no turnovers for 60 minutes. Very impressive.
Yeah, that's super impressive from Lauren Nurse. I thought a couple of times it took a little while for her teammates to really pick up where she was. What Nurse does really well is to hustle to the top of the circle and find good space, and her timing is impeccable. So it just took a little while for her to really come into the game. When she did, she was incredibly effective, and that delivery into the circle is just a real strength for her.
Well, a pretty good start so far for Madison Brown. Of course, she was sensational on debut in the UK in February this year. Of course, player of the match and only her 2nd test cap.
Yeah, Maddie Brown's a player who we've sort of watched for a long time, and you sort of always had the feeling that once she got her chance in the Australian team, she'd go very close to not getting out of it for quite some time. She's dynamic and athletic, and Really cool under pressure.
Aiken, I thought she was going to go the layup. That was going to be exciting. She had the whole circle open. But she'll take the set shot.
Yeah, and that was good hands over from her. That's, I guess, a good example of what you need to do when you're a goal shooter, and you get up and you've got to defend, and it makes your stats look pretty good with the intercept.
Got it all. Beautiful delivery from Madison Brown. Uses the floor to find Prattley sweeping that baseline and pushes it back out to a 4-goal lead for the Diamonds.
Well, Susan Prattley sitting at 8 from 8. Great start from her.
They're already at 12, Liz. They're at 12 at quarter time in the first test, so the scoring power is already increased by the Australians, showing there that the connections are happening, the turnovers are coming, so a pretty good sign for the home side.
Yeah, that is good signs. What's a worrying sign is that when Romelda Aitken gets herself into a one-on-one position with Susan Furman, the ball's not going over, so it's a much better feed there. A couple of times, I've said it before, Nadine Bryant just looks a little bit nervous to turn and deliver that ball. She's the most experienced player in that front line. She's got to stand up and deliver it.
9 times out of 10, Aiken's going to get it. Again, finding that space at the top of the circle beautifully, Madison Brown. Great feed over the top, Prattley. Good combination developing between those two. They've found some really good passages of play so far in this first quarter.
You get so much speed with Brown and Prattley.
Bryan goes the high ball.
That's a better delivery. She turned. She saw that Aiken had a hand extended and was showing her where the space was.
And Anna Kay Griffiths slots her first for the game, so she's on 1 from 2 on the board. She'll be happy with that. Again, Brown, quick to transition with Cox. Again, over the top. That baseline's really open for the Diamonds.
Yeah, that was almost exactly the same move twice in a row. One of the shooters driving to the top, the other one finding the space on the back line. That's what you've got to think about when you're defending, to make sure that the same pattern doesn't get put on you all the time. You've got to think of ways to disrupt it.
Thompson. Oh, good take from Aiken, claws that in. Sitter under the post, makes good.
Yeah, better delivery then. It's good to see the Jamaicans responding. The Australians had a little run early. Jamaicans now just responding, making sure that they're scoring with every centre pass.
Again, another set play is off the centre pass, goal attack, wing attack, into the shooter. Very basic. You'd really think the Jamaicans need to stop that in that second quarter.
Absolutely, and it's not difficult to figure out what the Australians' approach into the circle is.
Kelly swinging the elbows. Thompson finds Bryan. Aiken on the move again. Furman coming around the front, double team on Aiken. Griffiths needs to drive that. Put it up and fumbles it out of court. So a good turnover here for the Diamonds, leading by 4. Just over 4 on the clock until quarter time. Good drive from Hallinan. Good
Beautiful take, Hallinan. Beautiful athlete, so balanced. Took an absolute screamer and just had the presence of mind to steady it down.
Again, Brown, great vision over the back of the defence. Finds Prattley on the baseline. Having a field day at the moment between those two.
Cox chasing in the rebound. That's something that's become a feature of her game as she's matured. When she was younger, she would probably admit she didn't do that a lot. It's great to see now. She's such a flowing style. She doesn't want to interrupt it by chasing the ball in before she's released it, but just then she did it well.
Back with the Jamaicans. Bryan, Griffiths. Aiken again high in the circle, and Von Berto on the crumbs. Here come the Diamonds. Von Berto charging. Oh, beautiful ball. Splits the defence. Prattley, goal.
Yeah, that was just picture perfect, really. It was good crumbing. Norma Plummer said that she wanted her players to crumb it a little bit better on the tips. Furman did well to get her arm around it. Really high-scoring first quarter from the Diamonds. Just releasing the ball beautifully, finding the space. Great confidence build.
Kelly busted with her eyes down there, and the Australian feed has made her pay.
Try an advantage offside. Yep.
Cox takes the throw-in on Berto. Here's Prattley. And there is Australia's 19th goal for the quarter. Henry. Here's Thompson, working pretty hard, having to get so many balls through this transition area. They're struggling to penetrate quickly. Aiken over the top of Umberto. Here's Thompson. Annika Griffiths, her third attempt. Doesn't want to shoot it over Furman. I'd be scared too, Liz.
Well, she'll go to the post now. She shot in her first half of senior netball on the weekend. Shot 7 from 11. I thought she looked really confident when she came on court. Created some headaches for the Australian defence. And really, the Jamaican front line isn't doing too badly. They're getting some goals on the board. It's their defensive line that actually started off pretty well. I thought Gordon and Kelly were doing a good job. What they're not doing at the moment, though, is just stopping that flow of the Australians. And I've got to say, the Diamonds just look really on song. Their timing is perfect, letting the ball go, lots of drives. There's 2 or 3 options for every single pass.
It's hard work out there for the Jamaicans when the Australians are on song. Cox hits the deck, takes a slide.
Well, that's a little bit of what we expected to see from the Sunshine Girls, and you know, when there is a 50-50 ball, they'll go for it. Thought we'd see a little bit more of it.
We really did, Liz. Traditionally, the Jamaicans are really aggressive players, off play, in play, all the time, actually niggling, hassling. Didn't really see much of that in the first or at the start of today's game. So Pratley to the post.
Well, she's had a great first quarter, 15 from 16 for her, 7 from 10 for Cox. The Australians are really going on a goal-scoring spree here. Just off the back of some really good attacking work and some great defensive work. Nice deflection there from Furman, and good to see her chase it up as well.
Here comes the speed, Umberto. Cox opens up.
Well, you talked about the speed, but what Nat Umberto did beautifully then was just hold the ball up, make sure that she had a good couple of options to deliver. That's a sign of a great athlete and also an experienced player. So well done, Nat Umberto. It's hard to pick a weakness in this Australian lineup, Dan. They've just performed beautifully through the course of this first quarter, the Australian play, and that's why there's no turnovers from the Australians. So real challenge for the Sunshine Girls to get their hands up, start to hassle, start to cut off space.
So the Diamonds in possession, first play of the second. Pratley looking to pick up where she left off, and she does. She's now 16 from 17. Here's Brian. Thompson back to Griffiths, the double team on Aiken. Someone needs to split that defence in the Jamaican circle. Well, there's been a few changes at quarter time, so we'll now cross down to our courtside reporter, Ali. Fill us in.
Yeah, look, Taylor, Connie Francis was heard in that break talking. She wanted the girls to stay closer in defence, and as such, she's changed the whole back line. The wing defence is now Taylor gone on. Nicole Aiken's gone on to goal defence, and Lynch has gone on, Sasha Gay Lynch has gone on to goalkeeper, and she's hoping for a much tighter effort in defence this time round.
Thanks for that, Ali. So we'll see if the changes can make any inroads into this score. It's pretty ominous at this point in time, 24 to 13.
Well, already that defensive change-up for the Jamaicans has paid dividends, just forcing a turnover there, and they did that just by really taking up some space more than anything else. It's interesting, I was watching Nicole Aiken, the goal defence for the Jamaicans in warm-up, and she just looks like a mini-me of her sister Imelda. As much as you can be a mini-me when you're 191 centimetres tall.
Absolutely. Through the hands of Catherine Cox. Another chance here for the Jamaicans. Lynch, new player on. Finds Taylor. Savetta Taylor, she's one of the young ones as well in this Jamaican outfit. Here's Nicole Aiken. Pratley takes the intercept.
It's really the sort of effort that you want from all of your team in a game that you're winning pretty comfortably so far. Australia up by 12, and I reckon we'll see this sort of intensity all the way through the game. And you know, we've talked a lot about this whole series being a selection series for the Diamonds going into the Commonwealth Games. So I don't think we'll see a drop-off of intensity at all from the Diamonds, and it's really just great to watch the world champion team. They're currently ranked #1 in the world. Go through their paces in a match like this.
I think too, Liz, no matter what positive stat you can get on your name in a selection trial, and Norma Plummer has a look at every single stat there is, the more intercepts you can get, the better.
Absolutely. The more goals you can get and the more assists you can get. So there's plenty of stats on the game. Another thing that the selectors will look at, Dan, is combinations. So, you know, you can't afford to go out and just be trying to put together your own show reel. You've got to show that you're working in with the players around you, and netball is a true team sport. Not one player can dominate the entire court. So you've got to show that you're looking after the person next to you as well as looking after yourself.
So Nadine Bryan now for the Sunshine Girls. Griffiths swings it into the corner. Well, we're lucky now to have Connie Francis, the coach of the Jamaican team, joining us. Connie, the score's blown out a little bit, obviously not what you would have anticipated this early on.
That is true. You know, at least we seem to be shooting a little bit better, but I don't like the way we're defending at all.
Connie, your front line looks like they're able to score goals, and defensively, as you said, you don't like what they're doing.
Yep.
What have you asked the new girls coming on at quarter time really to do in this quarter?
To stop the transition play, to stop the transition run. You know, we are letting them loose, especially in the through-court play. I think that, and also Prattley, she was just too loose in that one-on-one, reaching into the goal circle before our goal defense. So she needs to tidy that up, and she seems to be focused on doing that.
Connie, you said in the media during the week that you thought Romelda Aiken was playing an Australian style of goal shooting. You wanted her to play more of a Jamaican style. Are you seeing that more from her today, or is there still more work to be done?
Still more work, but she's improving because she stopped that faking, you know, which is really good. And that double fake, that is not necessary because she's nice and tall and certainly can get it.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Connie. We'll chat to you a little bit later on.
Thank you.
So the balking of the shot is what she's calling Australian. Susan Prattley might have introduced that to her. She loves the balk.
A little bit of confusion there from the Australians, so perhaps they are human after all. Just a couple of little turnovers here, and I guess I would put that more down to the Jamaicans just increasing their defensive intensity and a loss of intensity on behalf of the Australians. I reckon the Jamaicans have just stepped it up a little bit this quarter. Excellent take there from Thompson. Rip that from the air. Furman gets a deflection from behind. Turnover for the Diamonds. Here they go. Prattley. Allen and Cox at the middle channel of that goal third. Get a bit sloppy down in that attack end from the Diamonds. Yeah, just a better defensive effort. The Jamaicans there getting their hands on it, chasing it up really hard, just starting to close off some space. And that's what we heard Connie Francis say. She wanted particularly the space around Susan Prattley to be shut down, and she's the one doing the damage at the moment, shooting 17 from 18. But Maddie Brown is certainly helping her in that regard. Yeah, Brown's had 8 assists, Von Berto 6. So sharing that workload there between the two of them. Cox puts the high ball in to Prattley.
No. Yes.
She'll take the pass or shot. Lynch out of play. Prattley will no doubt thank her for the hospital pass at half-time. I reckon one of the things I like about what Maddie Brown's doing with her game at the moment, she's got a real hustle to the top of the circle. I reckon when she was younger in her career, she had a tendency just to want to drop back into the pockets, and most goalkeepers weren't you beauty. Oh, Prattley! Showtime! Thought she was a Harlem Globetrotter there. That really should have gone in. Yeah, but I reckon Maddie Brown's now got real hustle to the top of the circle, and he's starting to find some great space. Bully gets the turnover. Here goes Brown. Slows it down, Von Berto. Double plays with Prattley. Cox to the post. Bang. Here's that shot from Prattley, Liz. Oh, not good for the stats. No. Liz, we spoke before, Romelda Aiken's positioning in that circle really isn't ideal. She's being pushed by Furman high. She's not going to shoot it from the edge of the circle, is she? No, she's not. And one thing that I'm just noticing with her, she's almost starting at sort of the side of the circle, and as the ball comes down, moving into the middle of the circle. So she's sort of almost allowed herself to be psyched out the circle a little bit to start and just trying to put the move on at the end. I'd much rather see her just stand there and be strong and dominate that space and say to Susan Furman, well, if you want this space, push me out of it. I think too, if you watch someone like Catherine Cox who puts an angle on her hold, Romelda Aikens, very flat. It's very hard to know where to put the ball if you're a feeder. You watch Cox, the angle's there, the ball goes into the space. Really simple.
Yeah, it is up to the player who's holding to dictate where that ball goes.
Well, let's cross down court side to Ali Broadbent.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I was just going to comment about, Lizzie was talking about the teamwork that the Australians have with each other. The thing I'm liking about the Australian team at the moment is the hands up in defence all the way down the court from Cox right through to Furman. It's the Jamaican team cannot turn in attack without a pair of Australian hands looking at them, and it's a scary thought for them, but it's also awesome work in defence for the Australian team.
Thanks for that, Ali. Well, a scary thought is that it's 14 goals the difference now, and we're just over halfway through the second quarter. Of course, it was 21 goals the difference at full-time, Liz, in the first test.
Yeah, I think the Australians would have looked at that first test and just felt they could have done better. They would have given themselves probably a B+. The effort was there, the intensity was there, the execution just wasn't quite there. Today, though, or tonight, that execution is there.
Okay, Griffiths just misses a goal. Aiken controversially gets the rebound.
We see Norma Plummer. She's always just wanting her players to do a little bit better, and she's right into this game. She's not going to relax. She's going to always be asking her players for just a little bit more. And at the moment, they're giving it to her.
Good turnover here from the Jamaicans. Savetta Taylor hunting in the pocket. Got to make good of it now. No point turning the ball over on defence if you're not going to transition it through. Here's their chance. Thompson, Bully, has a crack, misses. Oh, poorly placed feed there from Griffiths. Right into the hand of Furman.
Well, it's clever play from Furman. Use the outside arm, didn't give away the penalty, and allowed one of her teammates to get the crumbs.
Great pass, Maddie Brown. Hard driving bounce pass from the top of the circle to the baseline again to find Pratley. Direct route taken by the Jamaicans.
There's a better setup from Aiken and a better delivery.
Just a little pop pass from Griffiths to find Aiken under the post. She won't miss from there, and if she does, she'll get the rebounds. Here's Bomberto. Pratley, Cox out of the circle, swings it. And Paula Thompson takes the intercept. Aiken, a little bit slow to transition, Liz. They get stuck over that transverse line.
Yeah, it's almost like they sort of get the ball and think about what the options are, whereas the Australians tend to turn and deliver it.
Just like that, Brown, Pratley keeps it alive. Quick hands to Bomberto. Cox, sweet shot.
Good to see Cox get one long, pull the trigger, in it goes.
Well, another timeout called by the Jamaicans. That's Nicole Aiken calling it. Looks in a bit of bother.
Not quite sure where.
Can't answer that question for you either, Liz. I'm not too sure myself.
Get your medical training up to speed, Dan.
Get my first qualification first. What are your thoughts, Liz, on the new players that have come into the lineup? Furman, Bully. Pratley obviously is having a blinder so far, 21 from 23, and Maddie Brown. The 4 new ones into the 7.
Well, look, I reckon those 4 new ones have sat on the bench on Sunday or in the crowd on Sunday and thought, if I get on, I have got a huge ask ahead of me. The 7 that played for Australia on Sunday did a really good job, really got out there and staked their claim. They would have been sitting there Sunday thinking, I really want my chance. I need to get out there and show what I can do, and they're all doing it beautifully.
Just catching some shots of Kim Green before, Nat Medhurst. There's Laura Geitz, Amy Steele, the only uncapped player, so we might see her into the game some point in time, maybe in the second half.
Yeah, I reckon Kim Green's a player who will really want to get out there and get on court. She got to run in just the last 15 minutes of the game on Sunday, and I guess by her own lofty standards, probably didn't perform as well as she would have liked to. She had a couple of assists and a deflection, but she also had a couple of turnovers, so 2 turnovers in 15 minutes. So I think sometimes that happens when you get on the last 15 minutes. You know you've got to make every minute count in this sort of selection process, but there's a fine line between doing that and maybe going in too hard and trying to do too much. So I'm sure Kim Green would love to get out there and have another shot. I reckon she'll get the chance either tonight or next Sunday on the Gold Coast.
So we're almost ready for a restart here. It's 33-19. The Diamonds well in control at the moment. Just over 4.5 left in the second term. Anna-Kay Griffiths here, back to Aiken.
Really important little sort of 5-minute period here from Jamaica. They called the timeout. They've been able to have a chat. They need to now eat into this Australian lead. They've got the personnel to start to pull it back, particularly through Imelda Aiken. But they've got to be aggressive. They've got to get the ball to Aiken and say, you're the spearhead, here's the ball, you can shoot it. Get us back into this game.
Well, we know they can score goals quickly. Anna-Kay Griffiths to get the Jamaicans to 20. She opts to go to Romelda. And Aiken makes right. So it's 13 the difference. You think, Liz, if we can get it under 10, the Jamaicans possibly can stay in touch with this Diamonds outfit.
Absolutely, but it's going to be difficult with deliveries like that. Cox and Pratley really showing their understanding there. Cox always happy to wind the arm up and send a bullet to Pratley. This time, mercifully for Pratley, it was via the boards. But I guess what I'd like to do, or what I'd like to see the Jamaicans do, is just be prepared to turn and just throw the ball long and high to Aiken. I know that it's probably best if they sort of work it down court, but she's playing against someone in Susan Furman, who, while she's having a good game, is the most penalised player on court. So potentially let's try and draw some penalties, get the ball to her.
Cox, long range. Shoot that up, why not? What a shot from Catherine Cox. Because you don't often see Catherine Cox do a lot of work outside the circle where she can unwind the arm, but she has a wicked pass.
She does. Look at training, when she winds that arm up in a drill, you sort of duck and think, please don't be coming to me. Susan Pratley's been on the end of a lot of them over the years, and she's doing well.
She's alive, that's the main thing.
She has all the teeth.
Cox, another one for her. 16 is the margin. Catherine Cox playing her part. Taylor to Thompson. Using the floorboards to Bryan. Has to look up over the hands of Onberto. Aiken takes that, swings the elbows. Slots another for the Jamaicans. Look at that speed from Brown. She's so quick to go on second phase after she gets that centre pass. Such an explosive athlete. Little dynamite.
Yeah, she certainly is.
Cox, a deflection.
And again, that's what you want all your players down the court doing. So Norma Plummer works really hard with her Australian team on making sure that everyone's working one-on-one, working the ground. No pass is ever safe, and you want teams to come into games knowing that no pass is safe. Even your goal shooter and your goal attack for the Aussies are trying to get their hands on the ball.
Aiken deep in the goal third. Got to find her way home now. Difficult with Furman. Pushing her back out. Here's Thompson. Precisely placed bounce pass to Griffith, around to Bryan, into the air to Aiken. Takes it awkwardly once again, and the shot dribbles through.
The Jamaicans down here showing just good tenacity. They know they're down a lot. It's good to see them still fighting, still trying to make sure that they're scoring goals.
Well, some good fight there from Paula Thompson. She hustled for that ball near the sideline. The turnover coming. Diamonds take the throw in. Here's Bully. Hallinan driving Bully forward. Connects through Onberto. Incisive pass to Cox. She wanted to hit Pratley a little bit quicker than that. Oh, Taylor, that's 2 interceptions now in this quarter. She's done her job coming in. And Griffiths delivers to Aiken. Too far out for her.
A better transition play too from the Jamaicans. They just turned and gave the ball. They need to make it all worthwhile though now and score here just to make sure they're in touch with the Diamonds.
Well, Taylor's intercept deserves a goal. Whether it will happen is another story. Just under 30 seconds remaining in the first half.
A good hustling defence here from the Australians. They know that there's not much time left. They'll be getting that instruction from the from the bench. So they know they need to hustle and get their hands over everything, and they've very nearly disrupted the ball.
Well, a baseline drive from Romelda Aiken put a stop to that, and she gets the Jamaicans to their 23rd. They need a goal here. 3 seconds on the clock. They're probably going to run out of time. Pratley needs to shoot it. The balk's not going to help.
And
does
no
not count.
goal, yeah. So, look, I reckon the Jamaicans actually probably had the best of that quarter. And I think that's probably a concern for them, but if they can build on that second quarter, should be very interesting. Well, Ali Broadbent is checking out things from the sideline for us. And Ali, you've been busy.
I have been busy at halftime. Norma Plummer's showing the confidence in her line and basically changed most of the team. Young Amy Steele has got her first Test cap as playing at the goal defence bib. Beck Bully's gone to wing defence. Kim Green's gone on to wing attack. And Kate Beveridge has replaced Catherine Cox at goal shooter. The Jamaican side's just replaced one player, and Vanessa Walker's gone on to goal attack.
Thank you for that, Ali. Well, there's a massive moment for Amy Steele. You never, ever forget your debut, the first time you wear the green and gold. What was it like for you? What was she thinking and feeling right now?
She'll be nervous. I would imagine it would be difficult to make, I guess, your debut in front of a home crowd. You know, she's playing in Australia, but she'll be nervous, and more than anything else, she won't remember it. You sort of have so much going on in your mind. You want to make sure that you're doing a good job, and your breathing is, you know, 1,000,000 miles an hour. Your heart rate's 2,000,000 miles an hour. This would just be a blur to her, but I guess the thing that she needs to do is just keep her head, keep her composure, and just concentrate on doing the little things well. That's what you do when you're nervous. You just concentrate on, you know, one foot in front of the other, keeping your eye on the ball, and she'll be fine. She's got plenty of talent.
Of course, she'll be pretty familiar with a few of the Jamaicans. We mentioned a lot of them were at the World Youth Cup, as was Amy Steele, where she was a part of a very successful Australian team there that won the title. So she won't be all too scared about lining up against Vanessa Walker again. She's done it before. She can do it again. Here she is with the ball now.
Susan Furman got the penalty go her way that time. It's a good sign. She's made Aitken start to muscle up to her and comes away with the whistle going her way.
So Maddie Brown just gets half a game. She finished with 13 goal assists, 12 centre passes. So for half a game, pretty impressive. Now it's time for Green to put on a bit of a show and see what she can do in that wing attack position.
Kate Beveridge is another player worth keeping an eye on. Got the final quarter on Sunday. Given the opportunity here to potentially play a full half of netball, and she hasn't played a lot in goal shooter this year. She actually just hasn't played a lot full stop. Spent a bit of time on the bench with the Thunderbirds with Carla Borrego playing in that goal shooter position. So, again, another player who would be relishing just the time out on court.
And a bit of netball news. Liz in the ANZ, Kate Beveridge is off to the Vixens.
Yeah, in search of some more court time, and that decision, I guess, vindicated by the fact that Carla Borrego has signed with the Thunderbirds again next year. So, well done, Kim Green. Great intercept for her. As well as being a good attacking player, she's great in defence because she's so explosive and she reads the game well.
And Beveridge makes good. There's that intercept of Kim Green. She's a different kind of mid-quarter, isn't she, Kim Green? She's just so powerful and explosive, and she's a mid-quarter you always notice. She's not one that flies under the radar, and, you know, she's very flashy and flamboyant, but she does some fantastic things out there.
Yeah, she does, and one of the great things she brings to that wing attack position is her defence. It's unusual in a wing attack to have someone who can pull off those great sort of intercepts.
Well, we've got Norma Plummer joining us again. Norma, one of the surprises, I think, in many people's minds was the omission of Bianca Chatfield from this squad of 15. Amy Steele's one of the young kids coming through. What kind of raps do you have on her?
Oh, I think Amy's in a real learning phase, and she's at that age now that she's just going to take it on the same really as Geitzy. They just learn so quick at this age now because they've been out on the big arena, but it's just fun finishing off on the finer points.
Normally, you had a blistering start, a brilliant start. Second quarter just fell away a little bit. What do you put that down to?
Oh, I thought Jamaica really came into the game. They really started to work, you know, their movement around the edge of the circle. They weren't backing off. They set up a zone across the transverse line a couple of times, but they really started to play. You know, it was the Jamaican style actually coming in. They weren't going soft on it at all.
Norma, I just want to ask you, you've got 15 players who are putting their hand up here, and all of them are doing quite a good job so far in the series. Is this a part of your coaching that you love, having to select the 12 when you've got so many players who are more than capable of winning you the gold medal in Delhi?
Look, it's a fantastic position to be in, but we've still got to get the blend right, and that's what this whole series against Jamaica and New Zealand is about, because some of them will be exposed maybe on some things and be fantastic on others, and we need to see all of that at this point in time so we we get the blend right.
Well, thanks very much for your time, Norma. We'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
Well, the Diamonds have started this quarter pretty well. Just taking the lead out to 18. You do get the feeling that the Jamaicans have just done a little bit more work defensively in that second quarter and been wanting to build on that in this quarter.
Pratley gets her own rebound.
Goalkeeper.
You see there the balk that Connie Francis is quite worried about with Romelda Aiken. Pratley really likes to employ it. Sometimes I think, though, she runs close to that 3 seconds when she's doing it. But effective that time.
Here's Walker busting into the circle. Aiken can't find her. Here's Thompson. A good hustle from Amy Steele. Blocked off all supply to Walker. She gets the sweep on her now. And 2 from 2 for Vanessa Walker. So a good start from her in this third quarter.
Well, she sort of struggled on Sunday. Only shot 4 from 8 in the game in a half. And all those 4 goals came in the second quarter. So perhaps she's got used to the speed. She showed some good hustle then getting down the court. So just keep your eye on her.
Bully all over Bryan. Bryan wins on that occasion. Here's Nicole Aiken. Taylor. Long ball out to Aiken. Almost had to intercept that pass off Furman. Here's Walker. Oh. Happy to say, see you later, Beck Bully.
Yeah, that's the Jamaican style we know and love. They'd like to let you know you're in the contest. Plenty of elbows.
Aiken misses a sit-up. Furman takes the rebound. And down come the Diamonds. Here's Steele. Bomberto. Green. Sorry, Pratley. Now it's Green. All alone at the edge of the circle. Beveridge opens at the base. That classic high shot. Beautiful introduction from her. 4 straight for Kate Beveridge.
A little bit of an elbow there. Shoulder as well. Nadine Bryant's experienced campaigner. That transition play then down from the Diamonds was so good, but what the Jamaicans didn't do was transitioning the defence really quickly. They sort of stood and looked at each other. You want your goal shooter and your goal attack to hustle straight away the moment you give away the ball.
Liz, Laura Geitz and Natalie Medhurst are the only 2 Australians not to take the court tonight. Do you think they'll come on at 3-quarter, or they've had their time so far in the series?
Look, I reckon Norma Plummer will let this combination run the game out. It's done pretty well so far. Potentially, Laura Geitz may get a run, but be very surprised. I think she'll just let this run out.
Well, still 2 more tests to come on Australian soil, and then a further 2 over in New Zealand. So plenty of time for Norma to keep testing her waters and seeing what she's got available ahead of the Commonwealth Games. Bryan, Walker, having a look around, finally decides to look at the goalpost.
Well, there was nothing there, and Romelda Aiken, in getting out and doing some work outside the circle, then fails to become a good target for the Jamaicans.
You can see it's open at the post to Aiken. They miss it, and here come the Australians on attack. Pratley, not a good ball across court, and you got Sveta Taylor hanging out there.
Beautiful take, so athletic. And really, she did that in a one-off fashion because, again, the Jamaicans just had a turn and defender, but
Jamaica.
she actually has hurt herself. She landed awkwardly on that ankle, looks in a little bit of pain. Just notice that when there's a turnover, instead of hustling back into defence, the Sunshine Girls just want to turn and look at each other and sort of ask why. What they need to do is to get their hands up, because the Australians will punish them. It's what the Diamonds are so good at, just that turn and get down the court, get the ball to the shooter.
So Sveta Taylor on screen now. She's up to 3 intercepts for the game, so she's done quite a good job since she's come on at quarter time. Just here's a replay of where we suspect she may have injured herself. Just maybe a bit of an awkward landing there, Liz.
Yeah, she landed heavily, but I don't know if she's sort of... Sometimes it can hurt if you land heavily on what is already a dodgy ankle, so...
Maybe the pace of Kim Green's giving her the run around. She needs a breather. Used to be a sprinter, Kim Green.
Mother was a swimmer for Australia, so a little bit of sporting pedigree there. She's a beautifully balanced athlete. I said it on Sunday, and I'll say it again, that I think this Diamonds team looks fit. When you look at them, you go, well, they look like they're ready to fly. And this Commonwealth Commonwealth Games is really one of the great things for netballers, and you really want to play it. You really think about your year and your pre-season and being ready for it, and really being in peak condition for selections. Every one of these players will do every single thing within their power to get onto that plane. You asked Norma, Dan, about that selection process. It's going to be heartbreaking, and speaking to her prior to this series, she felt it was going to be a difficult decision. It's always a tough thing to tell a player they've missed out when they've put so much into it.
As you mentioned, Liz, for a lot of these players, it's more than just a game, isn't it? It's their lives. They're dedicating so much of their time for that moment to be a part of it. And there's going to be, as you said, a few heartbroken players, but as long as they do everything in their power to give themselves the best possible opportunity, that's all they can do to secure themselves a spot if that happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The team will be announced on the 30th of August after the end of this series and the series against New Zealand. Another turnover for the Jamaicans. Kim Green just couldn't quite keep that ball in. But the 3 players who aren't selected will then, in the week after the team is announced, travel to Malaysia with the team for a training camp. So whilst you'd never wish ill to any of your teammates, there's a glimmer of hope right until the very end.
Liz, if you were Norma Plummer, do you think you could have your team picked out at this point in time, or...?
No, I couldn't. And prior to this series, I probably could have told you what I thought the team was going to be or should have been if I was a selector. But just watching some of the performances that we've seen, it's a difficult thing to do. It's going to be a tough selection. There's a couple of people to help her. Anne Sargent, former Australian captain and great of the game. She is one of the selectors. So, she's got plenty of experience, but it's never an easy thing to do.
Well, let's cross down courtside to Ali Broadbent.
Yeah, I was just noting Taylor's trying to get the Connie Francis, her coach's eyes. She really wants to come off the court, so she's obviously done some damage to that knee at the moment and keeps trying to suggest that's where she's coming.
Get her off, she's saying.
Well, Connie Francis giving it nothing, saying you're staying right where you are, and fair enough, she's playing well.
So a turnover here for the Diamonds. Furman. Here's Beck Bully. Looks past Vonberto to Kim Green. There's that pace off the mark. Connects beautifully to Vonberto and opens to Beveridge at the base. Great classic high shot from Kate Beveridge. 100% so far for Kate Beveridge. 7 from 7. Turns herself inside out, thus sent it past Kimberly Green. Got one hip to another. Here's Prattley. Beveridge again. Nails her 8th. Here's Taylor talking about her. She wants to get off. Francis won't let her. Maybe Steele out of play. Behind the goal third. Bryant. There's Walker. Again, the double team on Aiken. Walker's the only option.
Well, Ramona Aiken did a great job then. Put the ball back, got her hands to the ball and put it straight, accidentally, back into her Firebirds teammate Amy Steele's face. So, a little Falcon there for the girls to have a giggle at later.
Good stat to have on your debut of Falcon. Liz, couldn't ask for anything more. Here's Aiken. She scores her 23rd goal, so she's 23 from 27 for the match.
Dan, there's just a little bit of niggle coming into this game. Australians are going to play tough physical netball at all times, and the Jamaicans really starting to assert their presence. So just watch for just a bit of push and shove.
It happens again. Prattley misses on that occasion. 4 misses to her name for the game. Lynch, Thompson, Ryan, Walker. Aiken's there, give her the ball, and they do.
And much better build-up there for the Jamaicans. The court balance was better. Still a little bit one-off in their options. There's still not yet 2 options to the ball, but the delivery was better, and they were rewarded with a goal.
Here's this Falcon from Amy Steele.
She didn't even react.
Welcome to international netball. That's what Romelda Aiken says. Liz, you get the feeling with this Jamaican team, because they've got such a great target in Romelda Aiken, if they can transition the ball from defence with a little bit more speed, Aiken's going to be all that more dangerous, because it doesn't give the defender much chance to see the ball and pick it off.
Absolutely. The other thing that will change come the Commonwealth Games is that Simone Forbes will come back into this goal attack position. Now, at the moment, Walker and Griffith doing not a bad job, but neither of them really getting in there for some scoring opportunities. Simone Forbes is a player who is smart, who'll work the ball, but who can also shoot. Now, at the moment, with Walker and Griffith, they weren't really doing much damage, which allowed the Australian goal defence in Bully and now Steele just to sit back a little and pay a bit more attention to Romelda Aiken. When Forbes comes on, they won't have that luxury, and it will create a lot more one-on-one options or opportunities with Aiken and whoever is playing goalkeeper. So that is something that will change come the Commonwealth Games. And don't forget, Jamaica are in the Diamonds pool.
Yeah, they'll definitely be a much different proposition come October. Here they are now on attack. Brian is Walker. Steele almost has a crack at that one. It's over the head of everybody. And the Diamonds will take the throw-in. Here's Bully. Just under 30 seconds to go. So another goal here. Plenty of time for the Diamonds to score off this play. Green, Steele. Here's Prattley all alone on the baseline. Beveridge sends it up, slams it down.
Yeah, good finish for Kate Beveridge, and just goes to show 30 seconds is a long time in netball. It will almost be enough for a couple of shots at goal. These girls know how much time is left. They'll want to just finish it off. Can't quite do it, and you always want to do that to your opposition. Just make sure that you put a couple of goals on it at the end. Better quarter than from Australia, Dan. I really thought they settled into the... Really shows how hard the Australian defensive line is working. It's good to see Amy Steele just coming on, being effective. Susan Furman's had a really solid game back at goalkeeper. Beck Bully doing a great job at wing defence.
So first turnover here to the Jamaicans. Now let's go courtside to Ali Broadbent. Ali, there's been a few changes from the Jamaicans.
Yeah, there has. Taylor finally got the eye contact of Coach Connie Francis as he come off the court. Henry's gone on to wing defence, and she started the game, so she's back on wing defence, and Kelly's gone into goal defence and taken Nicole Aiken off the court.
Thanks for that, Ali. There's Romelda Aiken now to score the first of the last quarter. A good start if Jamaica can get this one. And she does just that. There's Taylor. Bully on the double play with Lomberto. Changes the angle to Amy Steele. Susan Prattley caught in a sandwich in the goal circle. To score her 30th of the match. 30 from 35 for Susan Prattley so far, and just under 14 minutes to go. She's going to have a very impressive night if she keeps going the way she is. Walker into the pocket to Bryan. Quick hands on the double play. Mid-range shot.
That's what Connie Francis was asking for in that three-quarter time break. She kept on saying to Walker, you're free, demand the ball, and to the players around her, give her the ball. So a little bit of double teaming on Romelda Aiken does open up that goal attack position, but you've got to exploit it. You've got to be prepared to just do the give and the go.
Well, some good skill there moments ago from Kim Green. She took the ball under great contest, delivered it to Prattley. They couldn't finish with the goal, but they've got the throw-in, so still the chance to do so. Here's Prattley. Makes good. Henry to Thompson. Here's Walker. Aiken out of the circle. Back to Henry. Ryan. There's Walker. Circle to herself. Needs to own that space. She does. Shot just runs out. Unlucky there for Vanessa Walker.
Yeah, unlucky, but good to see her going to the post. And it's that sort of play that will keep Amy Steele having to be interested in what she's doing. Again, your whole game plan has to be to try and create a one-on-one between Romelda Aiken and the goalkeeper. Which is exactly what has happened there.
And a good feed over the top from skipper Nadine Bryan. Finds the spearhead Aiken. 32 goals, Jamaica, 55 for the Diamonds. Oh, beautiful ball from Kimberly Green. Slick vision, slick precision, finds Prattley. deserving of a goal.
And lots of applause. It's a capacity crowd here tonight, and perhaps they haven't got a close game like they may have wanted, but they're seeing plenty of skill from the Diamonds.
Well, Connie Francis joins us again. Connie, the score continues to blow out a little bit for your side, but what are some promising signs that you're seeing?
We brought on a young wing defense who has never tasted this type of netball before, and she's doing extremely well. She was before she got injured.
Yeah, she certainly did a great job, Connie. Where do you go from here? You've got one more test. What are you trying to achieve between now and, I guess, next Sunday?
Give, especially our young goal attacks, them keep swapping the game, giving them some more experience, you know, because they had, for one of my shooters, the first time she has ever tasted anything like this. So, and also to work on my defending team. I think that they are a bit too loose, you know, especially my circle defenders. Definitely we have to tighten up that area.
Well, Connie, one of the defenders that you don't have here is Althea Byfield. Are we likely to see her back in the team for the Commonwealth Games?
Yes, she will be back. Simone Falls will be back. Casey Williams. So we have quite a few girls, number of experienced players who will be back into the team to strengthen it.
And Connie, is there any update on Carla Borrego at all? Can you give us an insight into what's happening there?
No, I can't.
Okay, worth a shot anyway. Thanks very much for your time, Connie, and good luck for the rest of the series.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, she's giving nothing away. Liz, disappointing.
Well, I don't know if there is much to give away. I still get the impression that Carla Borrego isn't that interested in playing for Jamaica. And to be honest, if they can get Simone Forbes back in this team and get the goal attack position firing, you know, you'd love to have someone like Borrego, but gee, it's not bad to have a backup like Romelda Aiken. She's a pretty good plan B where I'm sitting.
And Althea Byfield too, she'll add some experience to that backline. She was pretty impressive this year for the Mystics in the ANZ Champs. She's reads the ball beautifully outside the circle, and she hunts exactly what this team needs. Yeah,
she does, and she'll give some backbone and some spine to this defensive line and put a bit of life into it, just in terms of making her presence felt. She's a great athlete and, as you said, reads the game well.
Well, I don't want to put the mocker on Kate Beveridge just yet, but she's on 12 from 12, 100%, so let's see if she can get herself through this second half in perfect style. Nessa Walker takes the throw in here for the Jamaicans.
Bianca Bully doing her best, showing her flexibility. Not used to seeing her playing wing defence, but she's doing a pretty good job against a really experienced opponent. Kept her stats ticking over. Has 3 centre pass receives, 4 gains, an intercept, deflection, 2 deflections and 2 rebounds. It doesn't feature high in terms of penalties, just 4 for the game. It's a pretty good night out for her.
Here's Beveridge for 13 straight. She does.
Shooting beautifully.
Ah, Liz, who's that on screen?
Good-looking bloke.
Matthew Ellis there, Liz, your husband.
Matthew Ellis.
Actually, that doesn't work,
does it? So much trouble. That'll do, though. Beautiful feed in there from Walker. He thought his netball days were over, but he's back. Enjoying the game.
Taking your mum on a date. Well, while I've got the chance, let's cross courtside again to Ali Broadbent.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I've just been watching the Jamaican attack line. It's been happening all game for them, and I know it obviously reflects in the scoreline, but they just look so disorganised in attack, and there's no game plan. When something doesn't work for them, they obviously don't know where to go, and there's sort of no leadership there. And I know Nadine Bryan's actually working really hard there, but seems to be the only one that sort of knows where the game plan is, and the other girls just seem to be sort of throwing the ball and hoping that it's going to get there.
Thanks for that, Ali. We've just got a timeout here. Kate Beveridge has lost her contacts, lost her eyes. She obviously needs them. Good jab to the eyeball there.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that goal was better than poking the eye, but as it turns out, it wasn't. So she reached down straight away and got a contact lens. You sort of get the feeling with Kate Beveridge, the way she's shooting, 14 from 14. She could just about close her eyes and drop it in. She's got the radar on. She's got such a nice style, Dan, a really high release, gets plenty of height out of that ball.
It's a sweet shot for sure. Turnover here for the Diamonds through midcourt. Pratley, Bully. Finds Beveridge over the top to Pratley. Watch your eyes, Susan. Lynch is all over it. Jamaica's throwing. Here's Melisha Kelly. Henry. She's too high on the goal set on that occasion. Stick under the post, Romelda. It's where you're most lethal.
And well done, Susan Furman really contested that pass then and just continued to push Aitken up the court. Well, Lynch has picked up a couple of really valuable balls here and she's limping along. She doesn't look comfortable, but she's being effective.
Here's Walker. Cuts the front this time. Should go to the post. Goes to Aitken instead.
But again, that's, you know, what we need Walker to do if she's going to start to be effective for Jamaica. She did well then. She shaped it to shoot. That drew Steele onto her shot. Carried that one-on-one with Aitken and Furman.
Is Jamaica at full strength? Are they a chance to possibly at least make a gold medal match in Delhi?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's hard to sort of understand that when they're 26 goals the worst against Australia, but they're just the sort of team that really get up for things like the Commonwealth Games and the World Championships. They tend to grow an extra leg and their skill set really comes together, and they've got a couple of players who'll come back into this line and just strengthen it up. They drew with Australia at the Commonwealth Games in 2006 in Melbourne. Australia eventually beaten silver medalists and forced Australia to really get into a position where they actually had to get their percentages up in order just to make the final. So they will find themselves in Australia's pool again, the Commonwealth Games in 2010, and I just don't think that the Australians will be particularly comfortable, even though they've had a couple of good wins over them. They've got one more game again on Sunday, but they just won't allow themselves to feel comfortable because Jamaica just are able to lift for the big tournaments.
Former Australian coach Liz Jill McIntosh, who's in the crowd tonight. We do a little bit of work with Jamaicans over the last couple of months. She believes the Jamaicans physically are capable of winning a gold medal. It's the mental side that they really need to work on.
Yeah, at the moment they're getting beaten by, I guess, a physically better team than the Australians, but you're right, and for so many years they've had teams that have threatened to sort of make it into gold medal matches, and you look at their personnel, they're good enough to get there, and it's probably belief in themselves at crucial moments in crucial matches.
And that's where your players like Simone Forbes make the difference. So completely different proposition come the games in October. But right now it's the Diamonds doing a darn good job. The 17 straight, Kate Beveridge. Bang.
It's just interesting, Kate Beveridge is having a field day. Susan Prattley's coming in for some extra curricular attention. Whenever Beveridge has got the ball, Prattley's finding herself a little bit of a hip and shoulder for her troubles.
Here's Walker over the top to Aitken. Another assist to her name. And goal to Romelda. So 65 plays 38. Just under 4.5 to go in the second test here in Sydney. Of course, the third test played on the Gold Coast on Sunday. Then it's a big one, Liz. The Diamonds up against the Silver Ferns the following Sunday. Using the floorboards. Bryant to Walker. High ball. Over the shoulder goes Aitken. Furman takes it. Here's Lomberto. Stolen from Lynch.
Well, two really good defensive plays then from both teams. Both goalkeepers, eyes only for the ball. Attacked it and came up with it.
Again, good move from Walker, sweeping around that circle where all the congestion is in the hot spot.
Amy Steele not happy with herself for dropping that ball cold. You never like it when something like that just dribbles out.
Again, Aitken gets the rebound. So 5th for the match.
Well, Imelda Aitken, 32 from 38. In a losing team, she's still outstanding.
It's a stray ball over the top there from the Diamonds. Another chance for the Jamaicans just to trim the deficit ever so slightly. Just under 3 on the clock. Here, here's Kelly. Ryan all alone. Over the top to Aitken. swings off Furman with the elbows. Bit of a washing machine.
Yeah, it's a tough one, that one. Imelda Aiken, well and truly within her rights to take the ball and to take it as strong as she likes, but gets dangerously close to her opponents.
Here's the elbows, swinging around. Thompson mishandles, definitely a replay. Diamonds look to transition forward through Bully. Bomberto, steal. It's Kim Green. Back to steal. Happy to reset the Aussies. Now it opens at the circle edge for Bomberto.
That reset was good then, because it was up the middle of the court. Sometimes, you know, when you get into playing a pattern against a team when you're winning by so much, you sort of get a bit drifty towards the sidelines and towards the corners. So for the Diamonds, just that reset through the middle just sets up their attacking plays again.
That was Kate Beveridge's 18th goal, 18 attempts. Imelda Aiken going for shot number 33. Chance for the Jamaicans to score 2 on the trot here. Not with a disposal like that. Bully, deep on attack, playing her part. Again, resetting, back to go forward. Just good possession play from the Australians, just waiting till it opens.
Yeah, Nat Momberto doing well there, just running, I guess, the pace and also the direction of that build up to goal. Sometimes you're not going to be able to flow the ball down quickly, and you know, with such precision, sometimes you have to sort of grind it down, and Nat Momberto is so good at that and so good at controlling it when the pace needs to be changed.
Oh, Beveridge! That is a shot. Downtown. Aiken, good chase from her, the back up from Bryan. 20 seconds, can they score another? Plenty of time. Amy Steele gets bowled over from Walker. Walker slots the goal. Under 10. And Jamaica stop the flow of the Diamonds. And there you have it, Liz Ellis, full time. And a brilliant display from the Australian Diamonds, taking a 2-0 series lead against the Jamaicans.